Hats, the solution to a bad hair day. This is daily vlog number 57. I don't know if you can hear it, but the heat is blasting right now because somehow it got turned off. And I didn't notice this until about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I was freezing, shivering in my chair. Like I said, I have no idea how it got turned off, but I have my suspicions. I think my wife is trying to kill me. It reminds me of the anecdote about how to cook a frog. You don't put a frog in boiling water because as soon as you drop him in, he'll hop right out of the pot and scurry off far, far away from you. No, what you're supposed to do is take the frog and put him in a pot of cool water and then turn the heat up slowly. And as it gets hotter and hotter, the frog just gets accustomed to it and does not react until eventually he dies. Very cheerful vlog so far, huh? But it just reminded me about how we get so used to things. Things that initially we would complain about or get frustrated with, we suddenly just get used to. Like we get used to buying bottled water, when before tap water was just fine. Sure, there was the initial outrage about how could anybody spend any money on water when it comes out of the tap for free? But how long did that last? Eventually, we started buying bottles after bottles after bottles. And what has that meant for us? Additives that leach into the water that we drink, potentially being hazardous to our health. Mountains of plastics that just sit in landfills unrecycled. And a whole new industry of fancy water bottles and filtered pitchers and all of these other things that cost us more money, which we don't even think about paying for. Likewise with Starbucks or any of the myriad coffee shops on corners across the country, across the world. Well, we used to be satisfied with making it home. Now we'll spend exponentially more money for the convenience of having a cup that we can carry with us that says Starbucks or Clever Coffee Reference Shop. My dog is just wandering around looking, hopefully for, oh, kick the camera, sure. But then there are other things we just get used to. We get used to the way people treat us when we know we should be treated better. We get used to the way we treat others when we know we should be treating them better. It just amazes me how quickly we can become complacent. How we can just accept what is unacceptable and just let it fester. All the while cooking us slowly inside. Now, I'm not saying this with a particular thing in mind. I'm not saying that X is what we need to be raging against rather than just accepting. I'm just more or less talking about that part of us that so quickly gets used to things. What happens to us that we suddenly stop caring? For some things it's good to accept and not rail against, like interracial marriage. Certainly a thing not to rail against anymore. We should just accept it because there's nothing wrong with it. But what if we were to stand up against those things that were essentially wrong? What if we were to say to the person who treats us badly, enough? What if we were to say to the person we've been treating badly, I'm sorry? What if we were to take the temperature of the environment around us and see if the heat's been turned up and we just haven't noticed? What happened if we stood up for ourselves? If we stopped letting the things around us dictate to us how we should think and feel? What if we claimed ownership of our environment? What if we replaced our complacency with a desire to better ourselves and others? I guess my experiences as a pastor have inspired these thoughts for today. But I've met so many people who are afraid to even stand up for themselves, to say, I deserve better treatment. They've been in the water so long, I'm afraid they're being cooked to death. I don't know if this has made any sense, but it was just on my mind. What are some of the things that you've grown accustomed to that you don't even question anymore? What are some good things you think we've grown accustomed to as a people? And what other things do you think we need to stand up against because too many have been too silent for too long? Let me know in the comments below. This has been a bad hair day. And also, daily vlog number 57. 308 to go. I'll talk to you tomorrow.